Welcome to Studio A. This is our 7th season and we're very excited. Our first guest of the season is Ms. Hailie Boes, the Director of Development for Habitat for Humanity. Welcome to the studio, Hailie.
Thank you. So glad to be here today.
Oh, it's a thrill. It's a thrill. Let's talk about you for a moment.
Sure.
Where are you from?
Born and raised here in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
Grew up here, and I now currently live in DeKalb County with my husband and daughter.
DeKalb, wonderful. You went to high school here?
Yes, I went to Bishop Luers High School here.
Bishop Luers, very nice. Where did you attend college?
So I did my freshman year down at University of Indianapolis, but I moved back and went to Purdue Fort Wayne.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What did you study?
I got my Bachelor of Science in Human Services with a minor in psychology.
Why those fields?
So I always thought I wanted to be a nurse.
Uh-huh.
So when I went to University of Indianapolis, I tried nursing and found it was not for me.
Right. Good thing you found out in your freshman year.
Yes. I knew that I still wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And one of my friends introduced me to the curriculum with the Human Services Department, and it changed my life. I found a way that I could still help people and heal them in a different way. And it's such a broad degree as well that I could do any nonprofit if I wanted to, really any demographic if I wanted to, and so really have just found a lot of joy of.
Why was service on your heart?
I think it was just so, it was such an important thing for us growing up. So I grew up Catholic, went to Most Precious Blood Catholic School and then Bishop Luers, and service was just huge. I was a part of the Key Club program at Bishop Luers, so I always just wanted to give back. And it just makes you feel good too.
Yeah.
So just the joy of seeing other people receiving.
And the need.
Yeah, and the need. And knowing that I have a small part in helping with the need is pretty great.
How did you get involved with Habitat for Humanity?
Yeah, so I used to work for another nonprofit here in Fort Wayne as well. And the executive director at that time had moved to Habitat for Humanity to be the CEO. And after about a year or so of him being there, he knew that I wanted to grow. I had just passions to either run my own nonprofit one day. I wanted to just do more in Fort Wayne, and so he asked me to come over to Habitat, and I joined as the development manager. So I was in charge of all the volunteers, running the events.
That sounds like a big job.
It was. I started February of 2020, so I was just getting my feet under me. And then March 2020 happened, and so you're still learning a new job. Our build season had been postponed, so trying to reconfigure what all of that looked like. And so from day one, there was challenges that I never expected, and I never thought that I would want to work for a construction company. But starting with Habitat, it's so much more than a construction company, and so I've been there for 5 years now. Just had my 5-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. It's been a whirlwind. It's been a joy. It's been all the good things. And I'm currently the director of development now, so I'm in charge of the development department.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah, I have a wonderful team behind me too.
Tell me, because you didn't mention COVID by name, but you were inferring COVID. How did you all deal with that?
Yeah, so the great thing about Habitat is we build outdoors. So
you were still able to.
We were still able to do the work that we needed to do. So we postponed our build season, which typically kicks off April or May. So we pushed it back until June.
All right.
We just decreased the volunteer groups that we allowed out on the build site. But the majority of our work in the summertime takes place outdoors. So our volunteers were able to make the choice to come out if they wanted to. If they wanted to maintain that 6-foot distance, our crews wore masks. We offered that to our volunteers if they wanted to as well. Always made sure to just check with them on what their comfort level was.
Okay. Now, Habitat for Humanity of Greater Fort Wayne was founded in 1986. You serve Allen, Wells, and Huntington County.
Correct.
Okay, that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. And so in 2017 is when Greater Fort Wayne became Greater Fort Wayne, and that's when we merged with Huntington and Wells counties. So it's been fairly recent since we've served the Wells and the Huntington areas.
How's that going?
So currently we have not actually built in Wells County. We still manage all of those mortgages. We still service that area. We are in talks currently of potentially building within the next season or two down in Wells County.
Okay.
And then in Huntington, we're doing 2 homes every year.
Okay, 2 homes every year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your organization has served 360 plus families so far?
Correct, yes.
That's incredible.
It's incredible, and it's still not enough.
Okay.
So just the need for affordable
The
housing
need is more.
It's so great.
Okay.
Especially with the interest rates that they are, the cost of rent currently. And so that 360 plus, that includes the homes that we built here in Allen County, the mortgages that we service in Wells and Huntington, and then the homes that we've built in Huntington as well.
Okay.
And we have changed our verbiage where we're not just building homes, so we're serving families. We're walking alongside them throughout the entire process.
Now, what does that mean, serving families?
So we work with families that are between the low to median in income within our area, the area median income. And they have to make a certain dollar amount. They can't make more than a certain dollar amount for their family size. The whole point of Habitat is a hand up. We are walking alongside them to prepare them for home ownership. It's not a free house, which is what a lot of people think. We accept families into our program based on some parameters. They have to go through about 12 to 24 months of our program. So they're out on our build site, what we call sweat equity. So they're building their home, their neighbor's home. They're at our Restore volunteering. They're doing financial and homeowner readiness courses. So we're teaching them what are the words within a mortgage statement actually mean.
And financial.
We're doing budgeting, how to be a good neighbor, how to apply for life insurance, home insurance, all of those things.
Which many of the people who come to you may not have a background in. They may not know anything about that.
Correct. All of our families have not been homeowners before. So they are all renters. And so they may not know even how to mow their lawn.
So a very different experience.
It's a very different experience. And so they go through all of those courses. They're saving up $1,500 throughout the program to pay for their down payment and their closing costs. And at the end of the process, they're receiving an affordable mortgage that is never more than 26% of their monthly income. So that way it is always an affordable option, because what we're finding right now is that a lot of families in Fort Wayne are paying 50+% of their monthly income just on housing. And then what happens if an emergency arises? They have no extra funds. And so we're teaching them how to budget for an emergency and making sure that they're successful homeowners.
And that they save. They have something saved just in case.
Correct. Correct.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's incredible. Now, your nonprofit is a Christian organization.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so we say we're a Christian housing organization. So our mission statement, we put the love of Jesus. We do his work.
The hands and the feet.
The hands and the feet of Jesus. We're out on the build site. We're loving everybody. We're loving those that are hard to love. This is a really hard process.
Why is that?
It's a really hard process for our families. Over 85% of our families are single parents. So not just single moms, but we have some single dads as well that are joining our program. So they're having to be parents. They're having to work full time. Most of them are going back to school at this point as well. Plus they're having to do all of the requirements that comes about with Habitat. And that takes a lot of belief. Those families have to believe that Habitat staff are going to be there for them through the good and through the bad. And we want to just show the love that Jesus has shown in his life. We want to bring different groups together out on the build site, two people whose paths may never have crossed. Let's put them side by side, banging hammers, banging nails, building a house, and just talking and sharing their life with each other. And so there's no walls. We may be building walls, but we're also tearing down walls within just whatever those boundaries may have been.
All right. How important is it for you as an individual to be part of a Christian organization?
Yeah, so as I said, I grew up Catholic, kind of took a little break of what my religion looked like when I was in my early 20s. When I met my husband, we both decided that we wanted to have that faith that faith base in our relationship, and so we both attended church, and we really grew within our Christian
walk.
Our Christian walk as well. And so to have a place that I can openly talk about my faith with my employees, with my coworkers, is incredibly important to me. You don't get that in a lot of places.
No, you don't.
You may not believe in the same thing that I believe in, but we can still have very open, very honest, and very respectful conversations within the workplace. We are able to share those beliefs with our volunteers if we want to. However, we're not going to try to shove our beliefs down anybody's throat by any means. We want to just sit and we want to talk to them about their journey, and just listen and just speak what God puts into our mouths. So it's been very important for me. It's helped my personal faith journey grow as well. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
a beautiful
pretty
thing.
lucky for that.
Yeah, blessed.
Yes.
Pretty blessed.
Yes.
So let's talk about funding.
Mm-hmm.
How does the funding work for Habitat for Humanity?
Yeah, so Habitat for Humanity, we have our home building, obviously. We also have our Restore over on Lima Road. I've heard that there's some people in this room who really enjoy the Restore, which I love.
I see you've been talking with Bob and Shirley.
I love it. So our Restore, anything that is donated there and purchased there comes back to serve the families and to building the homes.
What's the process of donating to the Restore?
So we do free pickups within Allen County. So you can actually just call our store, tell them, you can actually schedule online now too, which is a really great thing that they have. You can schedule online, tell them what you want to donate. They'll organize a vehicle, a truck to come out and pick up the items from your garage for you. Or if you're able, we always encourage you to drop off the items in our drop-off lane whenever possible.
Okay.
They'll hand you the tax receipts if that's what you desire.
Sure.
So we take items such as we say it's like a Lowe's and a Goodwill mixed together.
Okay.
So you never know if you're going to find lumber, if you're going to find a brand new door, if you're going to find a couch, if you're going to find a desk, really any of that stuff. The major things that we don't take would be mattresses and clothing.
Okay.
But pretty much home decorations, if you need some nails, if you need some paint, to just finish up that last little piece of your home renovation, the Restore probably has it. The supplies change almost by the minute.
Okay, so if you see something,
you better get it.
Uh-huh.
Because you don't know if it's going to be there when you walk back down that aisle.
Okay.
So there's always that chance of donating your items that way. You can purchase things from the Restore as well, or there's just the donations of your funds to help keep the store running, and that works the same way for our building side of things. So we always accept donations of funding. You can just go on to our website at habitatgfw.com/donate. You can donate online, you can mail in a check, whatever works for that. A large way of us to receive funding is through our grant program. And so we do have 2 full-time grant managers currently who are just writing all the grants that they possibly can to help us build homes.
I'm sorry for interjecting.
No.
Is that difficult in a climate, given the political climate of today?
So I think we are blessed that we have not seen issues currently.
Okay.
We are keeping our ears open for whatever may happen.
Sure.
Trying to be strategic about other ways of funding and how we may pivot if we do see anything happen. But currently we have not seen a decrease in our grant funding.
Wonderful.
We may have seen a slight decrease around election season in individual giving. However, that has actually increased back up to where we need it to be.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so we're very blessed. I'm going to keep going back to that. We are very blessed by the support within the community to make sure that the families that we work with are able to get an affordable house.
This is a very generous community.
It really is. It really is. And when there's a need, they're going to show up in tenfold.
Yeah, that's very true. Now let's talk about one can donate an old car, boat, RV, or motorcycle?
So Habitat International, so we like to say that Habitat for Humanity International is like the big umbrella.
The umbrella.
And so they have a lot of these programs that allow for you to donate your cars, to donate land, to donate things like that, and you can specify it to a certain affiliate.
Okay.
And so if you were to donate your car our affiliate, which is the Greater Fort Wayne, we would not accept that. We would direct you through Habitat International in the forms and things like that, and then they would earmark it for our affiliate, so we would receive the funding.
So it goes
for that.
to international first, and then it trickles down.
It trickles down. Yep.
Okay.
So Habitat International is down in Georgia, and then there's in each state there's a Habitat Indiana for us, and so there are lobbyists. They're the ones who are fighting for all of our rights here, for all of our families' rights, and then each county or multiple counties can be combined into one affiliate, such as ours.
Now, you guys just did something not long ago, a bit ago, but with WOWO?
Yes.
Regarding Jimmy Carter.
Well, so we were the WOWO Penny Pitch recipient this past year. So it was their 77th year doing WOWO, doing the Penny Pitch.
Okay.
And I know we were actually just at their 100th anniversary lunch on Monday.
Nice.
Which was really fun to be a part of.
Yeah.
So for 77 years, they've been choosing different nonprofits or projects within the community for the community to help them fund. Which that was really fun. It was a 2-day radiothon. We were answering phones, taking donations, all of that good stuff.
All right.
And unfortunately, Jimmy Carter had passed recently, and so there was a bunch of marketing and builds and around that. And I know he was still building up until a few years ago.
My goodness.
Just wonderful. I know quite
an amazing man.
Yeah, quite a few of our supporters here in Fort Wayne actually have done builds with him previously.
Really?
Yes. I never had the privilege, but I've heard stories, which is really wonderful.
Wow.
Yes.
That's pretty incredible.
Yes. Our affiliate does have another option kind of on the cars and things like that.
Yeah.
Our recycling program. So
let's talk about that.
So we have kind of reinvigorated our aluminum can recycling program.
Okay.
And so there are a lot of bright green sheds around Fort Wayne where you can donate your empty aluminum cans. You just put them in a bag and toss them in that shed. And we go around and we pick them up, and just in January alone, we brought in $4,000 just through aluminum cans.
My goodness.
Yes. So keep those cans, donate them, drop them. There's a can shed at the Restore. So if you frequently shop the Restore, you can just drop it in there. And then all those locations are also on our website too.
Throughout the city?
Yes, throughout the city.
Throughout the city. Let's see, why is it imperative to have an organization like Habitat for Humanity?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, the need for affordable housing is
dire.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yes. Families that come into our program are spending maybe $1,400 to $1,600 a month on rent.
My goodness.
For a 1-bedroom, 1-bath.
Here in Fort Wayne.
Here in Fort Wayne. And when they go through our process and they receive their mortgage, they can drop anywhere down from $700 to $900.
Okay.
And so that extra income, what that's going to do for them in the long run, they're becoming taxpayers. Their children have a stable place. They have an address. They have a clean place to lay their head every night. They know that they're going to be able to get their homework done at the kitchen table every single night. They don't have to worry about moving year over year because the landlord may have raised the rent too high.
Sure.
They know that this is where they're going to stay.
Yeah, this is their forever home.
It's their forever home, or at least for the next few years.
Yeah.
If they've, hopefully our families have better opportunities.
And are able to move on.
Sure.
What happens when a family does move on? What happens to that home?
Yeah, so ideally we ask that they offer Habitat the chance to purchase it. However, we don't want them to lose out on dollars.
The market.
If you sell a house right now, you're going to get top dollar for it.
Sure.
And Habitat may not be able to purchase the house at that top dollar.
Sure.
And so we will always want the chance to view that home and see if we can. We'll make an offer if possible. But it's always up to the family on what they do with that house. And then the hope is if we do receive it back, it's what we call a recycle. So we're going to go in, we're going to fix it back up, put some new things in it, and then hopefully we can put another family into it.
Okay, wow. So the process to acquire a home, what is it?
Yep, so we open up our application for Allen County every year in January.
Okay.
And it's open for about 2 weeks. You have to make between 30 to 80% of the area median income based on your family size, and all of those details are listed on our website.
Okay.
That is figured through HUD guidelines. Our homeowner services department handles all of that. And so you would go onto our website. You would do a pre-qualification application. You would answer probably about 10 or so questions, and that would tell you if you've been pre-qualified or if you've been denied and why.
Okay.
And so usually if there's a denial, well, you put in maybe the wrong number. Maybe you did the monthly instead of the annual number or something like that, and so you can go and try again. Or you have 2 weeks to kind of fix whatever is wrong, and then maybe reapply.
All right.
And so if they've been pre-qualified, they have up to 30 days to turn in a full application. So we're going to look at your bank statements. We're going to look at your any loans that you have out there, your debt to income. The great thing about Habitat is we don't pull credit reports, which is really nice because a lot of our families
really pretty
don't
amazing.
have credit.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be denied for a traditional mortgage based
Right.
solely on their credit scores.
Right.
And so they have to turn in all of that information. And then after we receive all of that, our homeowner services team works really, really hard to do a need for housing. So we're looking at your current housing situation.
Okay.
Are there 10 of you crammed into a 2-bedroom home? Are your floors caving in? Do you have a stable place to live? What is that? And then so they're going to rank that on the need for housing score.
Okay.
And then we present any of those that have fully qualified to our board of directors for them to approve.
Okay.
And then we welcome them into our program.
Okay.
So currently we have about 45 families that are in our program working towards their homes.
Okay.
We have quite a few getting ready to close, which is an exciting
That
time
is
as we're wrapping up our build season.
Yeah.
And then we are getting ready to take about 35 applications to our board and asking them for their approval on accepting 35 new families into our program.
What is the most misunderstood thing about Habitat for Humanity?
That our homes are free.
Okay.
And so I've been doing this for 5 years, and I still get asked, well, why should I support you? Your homes are free. They don't have to work for it, which is the biggest misconception I think that I've ever heard. I say Habitat families are probably the hardest working families. They are literally out on the build site pouring their sweat, their tears, hopefully not too much blood, into maybe not even touching their own home, but they're building their neighbor home. They're building other families within their program's home. They're getting to know each other. They're working with our volunteers and our partners, and they're learning. They're truly learning what it means to be a homeowner. And so at the end, they have up to a 30-year affordable mortgage.
Really?
Yes.
30 year.
30-year.
Okay.
Yep. And so we work with some of our local bank partners here in Fort Wayne, and they originate the mortgage process for us.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. We've talked volunteering.
Sure.
How does one volunteer?
Yeah, so the easiest way to volunteer is to go to our website. We've just did a huge website overhaul, if you can't tell, because I keep directing people to our website.
You're very excited about this. Yeah.
It looks really good.
Okay.
So I would really suggest to go to our website, click around, see what you can find out, but there is a Get Involved button to volunteer. You can volunteer on our build site. You can make lunches for our build site, or you can volunteer at our restore.
Okay.
So the age restriction to volunteer at the build site and the restore is 16 years old.
Okay.
To make a meal for our crew on the build site, it can be a whole family, so you can have some little ones because the build site's not an active build site at lunchtime.
All right.
So we actually encourage families to do it together, especially during the summertime, which
so
is
that
great.
Children understand.
Yes. The point of giving back.
Process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to volunteer on our build site, we take around 7 volunteers per day. We build Wednesdays through Saturdays.
Okay.
And our build season kicks off May 7th. So we are gearing up for an exciting build season, and we do try to build year round.
Okay.
So we're going to try and get all of the homes framed, sided, under roof before the first snowfall. We'll be working indoors at some point for that too.
Okay.
And so you have to be 16 or older to volunteer there. to make a meal for our volunteers. We always try to have those lunches on our build site donated.
Okay.
And so you're cooking for our corporate partners potentially, you're cooking just for the general public, you're cooking for our future homeowners who are out on the build site as well.
Okay.
And it could be you go to Little Caesars and you grab a couple of pizzas. It could be you make the grandest meal ever. We've had it all in
wide
between.
range.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're all grateful for whatever they receive. And then you can volunteer at a restore as well. So you can help with unloading trucks, processing items, cleaning the store, stocking, all of that fun stuff.
Okay. What is the goal for the next 3 to 5 years for Habitat?
Yeah, so if you asked us about 7 years ago what we were doing, we weren't really sure. We knew that we needed to get really focused on that, and so we were averaging maybe about 3 to 5 homes per year.
Okay.
And we set a goal of wanting to do 20 homes sustainably every single year within 5 years.
Okay.
And so in year 4, we hit that 20 home mark, and we're maintaining that. So this last build season, we served 26 families. Habitat built 20 of those homes, and then we had unique partnerships with outside developers to build those remaining 6 homes. And so the goal every year is going to be Habitat to build 20 to 25 homes with volunteer help. And then we're always looking for other contractor additions to come in and to build homes for us. There is potential of us stepping into the repair program.
Okay.
Not a lot has been fleshed out. We are still in the let's figure it out phase, but potentially the repair and the rehab program within Allen, Huntington, and Wells counties.
Okay.
So we're figuring out what comes next. We know that the need is so much larger than what we're doing, and we have the ability to do so much more, but we need to get very strategic about how we're going to do that. And we have a wonderful partnership with the city of Fort Wayne, where we receive lots from them.
Yeah.
We receive funding from them to build the homes as well.
Okay.
And so there's just really a wonderful partnership there, in how to serve the southeast part of Fort Wayne.
Okay. And where are the Habitat homes located?
Yeah, so we're primarily focused in the southeast part, so the Renaissance Point neighborhood currently.
Okay.
And so that's where our main focus has been within the last 3 to 5 years, and that's probably where we're going to continue within the next 2 to 3 years as well.
Okay. And about how many homes are in that neighborhood?
That we've done?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I could not tell you off the top of my head, but I know within like a 5-year period, we've invested about $12 million in new home builds.
My goodness. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that tells us a lot.
Yeah, and our homes are beautiful homes.
Yeah.
So they're 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot, and then we have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot.
My goodness.
So beautiful homes.
Yeah.
Beautiful yards.
That you're proud to own.
Yes, absolutely.
Proud to own, take pride in.
Absolutely. That's our goal, is we want them to be proud. The families have put in so much work to get to where they are, and we want them to see the fruits of their labor and to show their children that it's worth it. And they have a sidewalk that they can ride their bike on, and they have a backyard that they can play in, and just a clean, safe space to live.
Wonderful. And what a great note to end on.
Yes.
It's gone by very quickly, Hailie. Thank you so much again for coming in and talking with us about your organization, Habitat for Humanity. And I'm assuming that the website...
It's habitatgfw.com.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
And thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you for tuning in, and be blessed.